中国的男人真的配不上现在中国的女人。
People say that the men of China are no longer worthy of the women of China. Let me correct that. It's not that we are not worthy. It's that we can no longer afford them.
Why?
Because businesses and the forces of capitalism, in their quest to harvest money from women, have relentlessly brainwashed them. They preach day and night, telling women how to live, what to demand, until they've become unreasonable and insane. They scream gender equality. But where is this equality? When it's time for housework, they demand equality. But when it's time to receive the bride price, why is no one demanding equality? When the restaurant bill arrives, why is no one demanding equality? In other countries, it's women who fight for equality. Only in China is it the men who are forced to cry out for it.
Why?
Because our status has been pushed to rock bottom. They say the status of Chinese women is the highest in the world. And naive women actually think this is a good thing. They don't realize that capitalism is using the filthiest, most venomous tactics to kill them with praise. It elevates them to the heavens until they become foolish and useless. Wake up. Capitalism isn't on your side. It's just trying to find a way to get the money out of your pocket. Many don't know that when companies want to advertise, they ask TV stations or social media influencers one question: what is the percentage of your female followers? If it's high, they're willing to pay a premium. Statistics show that 9 out of the top 10 highest-grossing films in 2023 targeted a female audience. Women's average spending is more than double that of men. They spend more easily and are willing to spend larger sums. Therefore, to make women open their wallets, the media shamelessly flatters and spoils them. Just look around. Regardless of their age, they call themselves goddesses and fairies. Even Women's Day has been rebranded by retailers as Goddess Day. It's all designed to make them obsessed with their appearance. And if they aren't beautiful, capitalism says, there are no ugly women, only lazy ones. What does that mean? It means you have to shop to spend money to be beautiful. And they've fallen for it. They've plunged headfirst into the trap of consumerism, buying cosmetics, designer bags, expensive yoga pants, and 10,000 yuan smartphones just for social media posts. Their lives seem to have no pressure, only endless indulgence with no plan for the future. But what's the reality? With an average salary of only 6,000 to 7,000 renminbi, about 830 minus 965 US dollars a month, after rent and living expenses, there's barely anything left. To satisfy their vanity and envy, what do? They take out online loans, even naked loans. When a man is in debt, he loses sleep trying to figure out how to repay it. But a woman? She gets anxious too, but the poisonous ideology that capitalism has injected into her brain quickly takes over. I'm not wrong. If there is a fault, it's that I wasn't brazen enough in spending a man's money. They brainwash themselves into believing that if a man loves you, he must spend money on you. The depth of his love is measured by the ruthlessness of his spending. And so, they feel entitled to demand gifts, red envelopes, and designer bags. With this kind of thinking, what man can possibly support it? They promote the idea that a perfect marriage is one where the man is responsible for earning money and the woman is responsible for being beautiful as a flower. What man hears this and doesn't get a headache? Do you really see yourself as just a vase? A man works his fingers to the bone, comes home, and is still expected to take care of the family. Meanwhile, the woman just sits there, opening her mouth only to ask for money, with zero concept of building a life together. The ridiculous thing is, the majority of women actually believe this ideology and use it as their criteria for choosing a husband. They think a man who truly loves them won't let them near a stove, won't let them raise children, and won't let them share in the family's responsibilities. They say a woman's youth is precious. Well, let me ask you, is a man's youth not precious? How many men at 25 or 26 take on a 1 to 2 million RMB, about $138,000 to $275,000 USD, loan for 30 years just to get married? Who can guarantee that nothing will go wrong over those 3 long decades? And once a woman has this mindset, don't ever expect her to be there for you when you're in trouble. You'd be lucky if she doesn't stab you in the back. To all my brothers out there, I'm begging you, wake up. Open your eyes. Stop being a beast of burden to be bled dry. Look at the men in Guangzhou who are marrying foreign women. They don't demand a bride price or a dowry. Focus your energy on yourself, your social status, your health. Don't try to argue with women about right and wrong. It's a foolish act. The only truth is self-awakening and earning your own money. I'm not saying this to provoke a war between the sexes. I just want everyone to remember an old saying: the world hustles and bustles for profit. Be wary of those who praise you to the heavens. Don't lose yourself in their flattery and lose your own judgment.
中国男人呐，现在居然扎堆去找国外女生结婚。
Nowadays, more and more Chinese men are turning to foreign women for marriage, and the numbers are rising fast. This is not a joke or media exaggeration. It is reality. In the past, people often said, "That girl married a foreigner." But now the situation has flipped completely. More and more Chinese men are actively entering the international marriage market. According to statistics, in 2023, there were nearly 50,000 cross-border marriages registered nationwide. In Yunnan province, the proportion of Chinese men marrying foreign women reached 93.7%. In other words, out of every 10 international couples, about 9 are Chinese men with foreign wives. Why is this happening? Because in China's domestic marriage market, men are under enormous pressure. Without a house, they are rejected. With a house but an unpaid mortgage, still rejected. Monthly income under 10,000 yuan, 400 USD? Rejected again. Even if they pass all these hurdles, after marriage they are expected to be 3-in-1 husbands: breadwinner, babysitter, cook, and emotional provider. Fall short in any one area, and they are quickly disqualified. And then comes the problem of bride price. In many places, men must pay tens of thousands of yuan, yet all they receive in return is a token dowry, maybe a few blankets. It's like starting a company, investing all the money and effort, but ending up with only a small share, while the other side, contributing little, claims most of it. This sense of unfairness has drained men's motivation. So when they discover that the international market is much easier, they turn to it without hesitation. Abroad, women rarely demand large bride prices or heavy dowries. In fact, some families are even willing to contribute financially. They don't obsess over houses and cars. What they value is a man's diligence and sense of responsibility. This makes marriage lighter, more equal, and built on a more realistic foundation. On top of that, many foreign women's strong builds, striking features, and clear genetic advantages appeal to men thinking about their future children. What's more surprising, in the international market, Chinese men are in demand. They are seen as practical, responsible, caring, and not overly patriarchal. Compared to Japanese and Korean men, who are often criticized for traditional attitudes, Chinese men appear especially reliable and thus become highly attractive choices. At home, men are often reduced to walking ATMs and picked apart for flaws. Abroad, they are valued as rare resources, capable of providing real value while also caring for the family. Meanwhile, international marriage procedures have become much simpler. In the past, couples had to shuttle back and forth across borders, gathering endless documents. Now, most applications can be submitted online with just an ID card. The Ministry of Civil Affairs even provides guidance, lowering costs and barriers, making something once unthinkable into a practical option. As a result, international marriage is no longer a distant dream but a real, accessible choice. Many Chinese men are even shifting their mindset. No longer fixated only on the domestic market, they now see marriage as a form of resource integration, something that should be fair, rational, and realistic. In the long run, this trend may help ease China's gender imbalance. Instead of countless relationships breaking under the weight of sky-high bride prices and housing costs, international marriage offers an alternative path, one that is fairer and less draining. In short, the surge of Chinese men, rushing to marry foreign wives is the backlash of a distorted domestic marriage market. It is the result of exorbitant bride prices, crushing financial burdens, and the view of men as mere ATMs. At the same time, it reflects the natural attraction of an international market that is open, policy-friendly, and offers better partner options. Chinese men have been grinding through enough. Now they are finally broadening their horizons, seeking choices that are fairer, more reasonable, and far less suffocating.
如今啊，去国外找媳妇儿的男人真的是很多。
These days, it's true. Many Chinese men are going abroad to find wives. It makes me wonder, are Chinese women really not as good as foreign women? Or are these men just obsessed with foreigners? Or is it because Chinese women are not attractive enough, lacking femininity? Today, while riding the bus, I came across a couple. The wife was a foreigner and the husband was Chinese. I started a conversation with him, and noticing my curiosity, he gave me a clear explanation. He said it's not that Chinese men don't have the chance to meet local women, nor that they deliberately worship the foreign. It's simply because foreign women don't demand houses, cars, or bride prices. Meanwhile, in China, to get married, a man must buy a house fully paid in cash, a decent car, and also provide a hefty bride price. For many men, it's truly unbearable, both financially and emotionally. And if divorce happens, men still have to split assets. The risks are just too high. He added, after marriage, if a man earns little, he's scolded as useless. If he earns a lot, he's criticized for not caring for his family. On one hand, women expect to enjoy men's sacrifices unconditionally, and on the other, they consume endless, toxic chicken soup online, blaming men for everything. It's too harsh, too realistic. Hearing this, I reflected. Men are human too. They have flesh, blood, and emotions. They're not made of steel, nor are they gods. But then, why do so many foreign women like Chinese men? Because they see unique charm. Chinese men are family-oriented, they love their wives and care for their children. Yet in China, many so-called leftover women always say, better to stay single than settle. But their demands are almost like looking for a god. Handsome, stylish, romantic, must own a house, car, savings, also know how to cook, be capable, and treat her with complete devotion. I can't help but ask, do you really deserve that? What's so outstanding about you? Are you that beautiful, or is your bank account overflowing with cash? It is precisely these unreasonable demands that have driven more and more men to choose foreign wives. As for me, I married my husband in a naked marriage. No house, no car, no bride price, not even a wedding ceremony. But I believe a house can be bought together later, a car too. We're not beggars, so why demand the other side to provide everything? Why only take without giving? So I want to ask everyone, do you agree with what I've said?
中国男人现在为啥那么爱娶洋媳妇儿，你知道吗？
Why are Chinese men nowadays so fond of marrying foreign wives? Do you know? They're skipping the local girls right next door, opting instead to seek help from afar and bring home a foreign bride. Is it really just because of love? Well, that might be part of the reason. In the past, we'd often hear about some family's daughter marrying a foreign husband, right? But now, it's completely reversed. It's all about some family's son marrying a foreign wife. Even on platforms like Douyin, Chinese TikTok, you can easily come across foreign brides who've married Chinese men, filming all sorts of short videos about their daily lives. The number of men marrying foreign wives has far surpassed the number of women marrying foreign husbands. Is this some new trend? No, not at all. The reason is actually quite simple. Marrying a Chinese wife might just be getting too expensive for many. Setting aside those childhood sweethearts who grow up together and easily walk down the aisle, or those rich second-generation kids who don't worry about money. For most of us, from ordinary families, ordinary people, love is just between two people, but marriage is the union of two families. Who doesn't want to build a career on their own merits and marry the one they love through their own abilities? But failure is the norm in most people's lives. As a result, by the time they reach marriage age, many choose to stay single. On the surface, they say they're afraid of marriage, but the real reason is just one: poverty. Then, under pressure from parents, the only path left is blind dates. But in the marriage market, men are often the ones being selected. No car, no house, pass. Monthly salary not reaching 10,000 yuan, about $1,400, based on the current exchange rate of 1 Chinese yuan is almost equal to 14 cents, pass. Looks not quite handsome enough, pass. Height not up to standard, pass too. And even if you finally get together through a blind date and decide to proceed, there's still a heap of issues to face. For example, how much for the bride price? How much to spend on the 3 gold items, likely senjin, ring, bracelet, necklace, buy or rent the wedding dress, and so on. All of it requires money to settle. In such situations, even if they get married, the groom's side often ends up buried in debt. So, many men have started to realize, why can't I marry a foreign wife? For instance, in neighboring countries, they don't demand any bride price at all. For them, love isn't about material things. As long as it's true love, you treat their daughter well, and you're hardworking, the parents will support their daughter being with you. Moreover, the aesthetic preferences of foreign wives seem different from ours here. Guys who look ordinary back home become full-fledged hunks abroad. This boosts their confidence immensely. Not to mention, foreign wives are often tall, with big eyes and high noses. This will benefit the next generation. On top of that, with our country's comprehensive national strength continuously rising, China's public security is among the safest in the world. Many foreign women want to marry and settle here. Plus, there are various visa-free policies in place. And as the number of foreign wives increases, perhaps one day, our country's gender imbalance will be significantly alleviated. The number of leftover men, long-term single guys, will also decrease accordingly. This is undoubtedly an excellent choice to change the national situation. So, on one side, it's bearing heavy pressure and suffering. On the other, it's equally marrying a foreign wife and bringing her home. If it were you, which would you choose?
为什么中国男人开始热衷于外娶？一个是高价彩礼，还要有车有房。
Why are Chinese men increasingly turning to foreign brides? One major reason is no bride price required. While many local women demand houses, cars, and a sizable dowry, foreign brides often only care about love and are less focused on money. To put it bluntly, it's not that domestic wives are completely unaffordable, but that imported wives seem to offer better value for money. In the past, international marriages usually meant Chinese women marrying foreign men. But in recent years, the trend has flipped. By 2019, 60% of all international marriages in China were Chinese men marrying foreign women. And this isn't just in border provinces like Guangdong, Guangxi, Fujian, or Yunnan. Even inland provinces such as Henan, Anhui, Jiangxi, and Hunan have seen a boom. For example, in Anhui, international marriages increased 6-fold in just 3 years. The question is, why would Chinese men choose foreign wives despite language, cultural, and lifestyle differences? The answer lies in China's domestic marriage market. Nowadays, an average woman can get married even if she owns nothing. But for men, marriage almost always requires having it all: a house, a car, money, education, looks, and income. Social media exaggerates this further, showcasing people with hundreds of thousands of dollars in annual income and real estate worth millions. This creates inflated expectations. Many women now think that asking for a bride price of 100,000 to 200,000 yuan, 14,000, 28,000 USD, is perfectly normal. In extreme cases, some dowries go as high as 2 million yuan, 280,000 USD, a lifelong burden for rural families. Meanwhile, in major cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen, A modest apartment easily costs 3 to 4 million yuan, 420,000 to 560,000 USD, and even a basic car costs at least 100,000 to 150,000 yuan, 14,000 to 21,000 USD. For average earners, meeting these requirements is nearly impossible. And even after marriage, the pressure doesn't stop. Husbands are expected to provide financially, share housework, offer emotional support, hand over salaries, split assets, and even divide property, essentially, bearing enormous costs just to maintain the relationship. This leaves many men wondering, I give so much, but what do I get in return? So instead of pouring money into the domestic marriage market, they're looking elsewhere. 1. Southeast Asian brides, frugal, family-oriented, low demands. 2. Russian and Ukrainian brides, beautiful, sometimes even bringing their own dowry. People often say international marriages don't last. Yet statistics show that divorce rates in international marriages are actually lower than in domestic ones. In short, international marriages have opened a new door for Chinese men, an alternative to the suffocating domestic marriage market. And perhaps it's also a reminder to women. Marriage is meant to be about mutual tolerance and support, not a one-sided burden.
为什么男性这么钟爱日本女性？
Why do men especially like Japanese women? What qualities do they represent? The first thing many people say is gentleness. Yes, gentleness is a big part of it. Others mention obedience. Whether that obedience is genuine or just performed, it still shows high emotional intelligence, the ability to make others feel good. Meanwhile, in China today, women are becoming more financially independent, earning higher incomes, and their position in the family has shifted. Many now say to their husbands, I'm making money now, you cook. Or I'm working, so you take care of the kids. Or I earn more, so at home, you listen to me. But traditionally, men and women have always been different. People often say men are the sun and women are the moon. So, do women really need to compete with men to rule the world? Not really. What women truly want is love, isn't it? And with love, don't you already have everything? If you can wisely hold on to love, why fight so hard? If you can lie back and still be cared for, who wouldn't choose that instead of struggling endlessly? It's because women no longer want to depend on men that many now fight for their own value in society. But this shift has also changed relationships between men and women. So, when people talk about Japanese women, they highlight qualities like gentleness, obedience, attentiveness, and care. Think about it. Why do so many men like going to KTV or nightclubs? I once asked a few friends what they felt there, and they said, like coming home. As soon as they walk in, they're greeted by rows of young, beautiful women warmly saying, "Brother, you're here," or "Welcome back, boss." Their voices are soft, their attitude caring. Even if the man sings terribly, they still cheer. "Wow, you sing so well," or "That's amazing. Let me pour you another drink and pick another song for you." Do men need a sense of presence? Do they crave respect? Of course they do. But at home, how many wives still offer that? Most women, exhausted from work and family, think, in this day and age, why should I serve you? This change has led to a high divorce rate. But it doesn't mean women should be housemaids. The point is, if women could be a little wiser and more tactful, using sweet words instead of orders, coaxing instead of demanding, men would willingly do much more for their families. After all, men love praise. If wives know how to speak kindly and gently rather than imposing demands, love and marriage would likely last much longer.
中国男人正在被全球女性疯抢。
Today, while Chinese men are increasingly admired by women around the world, within China itself there are still many objections. Recently, Professor Ding Chongfa from Xiamen University stirred controversy by suggesting that China should open up international marriages and attract young foreign women to solve the problem of rural men struggling to find wives. This statement immediately triggered heated debates online. Many male netizens supported the idea, arguing that foreign wives, especially Southeast Asian women, are hardworking, frugal, and less demanding, making them ideal for building a family together. For rural men, the costs of bride price, housing, and cars are unbearable. Marriage often means draining the family's entire savings. For them, marrying a foreign wife is almost a last resort. However, many female netizens disagreed. They argued that foreign women face language and cultural barriers, which could easily lead to family conflicts. Marriage should not be judged only by cost, but by long-term happiness. They also warned about marriage scams in some Southeast Asian countries, which could leave Chinese men with nothing but losses. Their conclusion: it's better not to marry at all than to casually marry a foreign woman. The arguments grew fiercer, but regardless of opinions, everyone recognizes how grim the marriage situation in China has become. According to the Ministry of Civil Affairs, only 3.43 million couples registered marriages in the first half of 2024, with about 6.6 million expected for the full year, the lowest since 1980. By contrast, in 2014, there were 13.06 million. In just 10 years, marriage numbers have halved. If fewer people want to marry, then even fewer will want children. In 2023, China had only 9.02 million newborns, the lowest in its history. Its fertility rate ranks second lowest among major economies, even below Japan and only slightly above South Korea. Faced with this crisis, the government has had to prescribe strong medicine. The first measure: marriages no longer require household registration, only ID cards. This prevents parents from blocking their children's marriages by withholding household registration. The second measure: considering international marriages. In fact, Professor Ding's reasoning makes sense. For years, consumer culture and social media have raised women's expectations to unrealistic levels. At matchmaking events like those hosted by Granny Wang, many women over 30 with average conditions still demand that men earn 200,000 to 300,000 yuan annually, 28,000 to 42,000 USD, own a house and a car, and be at least 1.8 meters tall. Men earning less than 10,000 yuan per month, 400 USD, have almost no chance in the domestic marriage market. Yet those same standards look very attractive to foreign women. Thanks to rapid economic development, China's per capita GDP is just over 12,000 US dollars, but living standards are comparable to countries with 20,000 to 30,000 USD incomes. Many foreigners visiting China are surprised to find a modern, safe, and well-developed country, far from the outdated image they once had. This has raised the international standing of Chinese men. They already enjoy a good reputation, compared with Western men seen as too free-spirited, Japanese and Korean men seen as patriarchal, and Southeast Asian men seen as too laid-back. Chinese men are considered diligent, responsible, and genuinely caring for their families and wives. It's no exaggeration to say that if global marriage markets opened up fairly, Chinese men would be in high demand worldwide. As a result, more and more foreign women, not only from Southeast Asia but also from Russia, Ukraine, Argentina, Japan, Korea, Europe, and the US, are willing to marry Chinese men. There are two main reasons Chinese men also like marrying foreign women. First, most couples return to live in China after marriage, so the adjustment isn't that big aside from skin color. Second, the costs are much lower. In most countries, bride prices don't exist, and in-laws don't demand houses or cars. The only extra expense is visiting the wife's family abroad. With China's growing global influence and closer ties to the world, international marriages are bound to increase, and the number of Chinese men marrying foreign women will far exceed the number of Chinese women marrying foreign men. This pattern has been observed in many other countries. Along the Belt and Road alone, countless foreign women will likely become brides of Chinese men in the future.
领着老外出来放风了。
Taking my foreign wife out for some fresh air today. Staying at home all the time is boring, right? Yeah, exactly. It gets dull just being at home every day. It feels so much better to come out and stroll around once in a while. By the way, I've got a question. Why did you choose to marry a foreign wife? Because you're kind and gentle. You're really smooth with your words. No, I mean it. But haven't you noticed that more and more Chinese men are marrying foreign women these days? That's true. Do you know why?
Why?
Because Chinese men are amazing. They're handsome, they love their wives, they cook, wash dishes, mop the floor, and take care of the family. In Russia, it's rare to find men like that. What Russian woman wouldn't want such a husband? Wait, are you praising me? I feel shy now. I'm not just praising you. I mean all Chinese men, they really make great husbands. Fair point. But I still don't get it. If Chinese men are so good, why do Chinese women still insist on a bride price, a house, and a car? Aren't they afraid all the men will just go marry Russian women instead? Then what will Chinese women do without husbands? Exactly. Then they'll all lose their husbands.
Haha, that's kind of funny when you think about it.
Marrying a Russian wife also saves you from paying a bride price. Hey, don't say the quiet part out loud. It's not because Russian women are so special. Just pick one like me, a little chubby. That's a blessing, that's what's good. After listening to all these stories, these poignant perspectives, and the brutally honest explanations, perhaps we can all recognize one thing. The phenomenon of Chinese men seeking foreign wives is not merely a trend. It is the collective sigh of a generation of men, a silent backlash against a marriage market that has been distorted by material values. This isn't a story about Chinese women being inadequate or Chinese men fawning over foreigners. This is a story about the exhaustion that comes when love is priced by bride price figures, when a warm home is equated to a real estate contract, and when a life partner is weighed on the scales of unrealistic standards. The men in our stories are not running away from the women of their country. They are running away from a system where they feel they are not valued as a companion, but are seen as a walking ATM, a provider who must pass countless rounds of interrogation. Perhaps the greatest lesson we can all learn from this is not to judge who is right or wrong, but to look at ourselves in this reflection. True love is not about what someone can give us, but about what two people can create together. Marriage is not a comfortable destination shouldered by one person, but a journey that both must navigate through storms together. Maybe it's time for all of us, both men and women, to find the courage to cast aside the pressures of social media and the toxic chicken soup of a perfect, unrealistic life. Maybe we should ask ourselves, are we looking for a partner to build with or a sponsor to be enjoyed from? And the men who are stepping out into the world, they are not just looking for a wife. They are searching for fairness, for respect, and for a true partnership. Because no matter where we are in the world, the most sincere emotion that each of us seeks, regardless of gender or nationality, is to be valued and to build a home together. Thank you for listening with Chinese Emotion.